Oh my God. Why would you do that? Oh yeah, wait.
Why do we always do
We're
that?
triggered by that. Yeah.
Seriously.
It's like, stop clapping at me.
And now for a movie that... Oh, I guess we have to say hi to everyone. This movie you and I saw last night. I want to tell a little story first.
Sure.
When I first picked this movie, it was during I was seeing a lot of stuff on it on Facebook and whatnot.
Okay.
And the only stuff that I've seen on it is like best movie of the year, best movie of the year, best movie of the year. And I was like, okay, this is an Asian film that I haven't heard of. I've seen the poster. The poster looks interesting. Mm-hmm. All I'm hearing is best film. So I said, okay, whatever. Yeah. Then I got drunk. And I
go on.
And I ordered my tickets without anyone knowing.
Without yourself knowing.
Without myself knowing.
You get notifications like, I gotta get to the theater.
Oh, and like ran off. No, yeah. But like it was one of those things. Like I woke up and I was like, did I order tickets to this movie? And I checked and I did. And to which I had to tell everyone, I was like, hey, come watch this movie with me, please.
I like how you begrudgingly asked me. I was like, do you want to see this movie? I got tickets or whatever.
Yeah, and like it ended up being possibly one of the best movie experiences I've had in a while. Same. I want to say.
I can't think of the other two, but this is definitely my top 3 movies I've ever seen. Yeah. Like, and that
ever seen?
Legitimately, I feel that way now. Future Keon, I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't know if this is true or not, but yeah. I haven't had, and I think it might just be a refreshing thing because I haven't seen a movie that's this well, not only well made, well written, and well executed and acted.
Oh yeah.
That I legitimately haven't. It was so refreshing that I just had. I legitimately, after we got out of the movie, we usually stand around and talk for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't speak.
We really, like, I was in the same boat where I wanted to, but I didn't know what to say.
Exactly. It was
this was literally last night.
Yeah.
And technically this morning.
Yeah. We watched the late showing, but I'm really glad it got a release here. I'm really glad we saw it in theater.
I think. How can I say this? Yeah. First of all, we're talking about Parasite. We haven't even mentioned the title.
Read the title.
Yeah, this is the title's Parasite.
Title of the video.
By the way, this movie was written and directed by the guy that did Host.
Yeah, and Snowpiercer.
And Snowpiercer, which I was like, what?
Yeah.
Snowpiercer, really?
Yeah.
And this movie was...
You said Okja, right?
Okja, yeah. The weird hippo thing.
I still need to see that.
It's on Netflix.
Okay. I'll give it a shot.
This movie was just such a nice just relief because like not the only movies I've seen like in this span of time is I want to say like Lighthouse, Midsummer, nothing but like horror, crappy action, drama, nothing but like I want to say downers, because not only in tone but also like whatever was it, Jobs and Shaw and Shobs or whatever.
And Lob, Lol and Job.
Dwayne The Rock and skinny skeleton British man.
And Crank 2,
Crank 2, make a movie, awful film. But then we get to something like this where it's a nice combo of drama, comedy, and it just felt like a huge
that like
nice breath of fresh air.
The movie,
that sounds pretentious as all hell.
Good, it should, because like the movie moves so fast that I literally within the first 20 minutes so much has happened. Like you can see that the thing that I love about this kind of writing is the fact that like any rom-com or any comedy, general comedy, you're usually sitting there during the first act and you're like, okay, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, because they're setting it up and it's okay, it'll happen. Sometimes they execute it in cool ways, interesting ways. In the movie, as soon as they set something up, they pay it off immediately,
almost immediately.
And and if they don't pay something off immediately, you're waiting for it to happen, and you're like it's gonna happen in 2 seconds, and within 10 minutes it does.
What this movie does well is especially for you and me, since we're adversed in film, is that
Yeah, we're geniuses.
we're geniuses. That's all.
Let me 1 second. Let me get smug for a second.
Oh, this is awful.
This will work.
Oh, put it back.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Freddie.
You know, we're adverse with films. We've seen films. We know we like them and whatnot.
I've seen a movie or two.
Seen a movie or two, but this movie, with the whole predictability, it doesn't give you a chance to like truly predict it because it goes like by so fast.
Exactly.
And another thing that I want to give this movie credit for is the director. You know,
Bong Joon-ho.
not from the States, clearly.
Clearly.
Who would have thought, right?
And who knew?
But the thing is that I like to imagine is that he's disconnected from everything that we've seen and everything that's like here in the Western world, where like he can just make his own story and just put it in there and make something awesome out of it.
But it's and this is why like this movie and like a lot of people say like Pixar and stuff like that are in my mind a similar vein where even though this is purely like there are a lot of Korean like influence because it's where it takes place.
Yeah.
But it's so I hate to say it, but like it's legitimately very universal. That like this is just the class system, and that like you kind of just see that, and like it's completely you understand what's going on from the get go.
Yeah, you've
seen this in real life. We live in a society. If the Joker didn't let you know,
exactly. This is a family that is clearly struggling with whatever is going on. They're struggling, and they're willing to. How can I say this? They're willing. Sorry. They are a selfish unit where.
But they're a unit. That's
they're a
important
unit,
thing.
which is like the most important thing.
Yeah.
Where they start off by like folding boxes or whatever. It's like we're folding pizza boxes because there's whatever reason we're folding pizza boxes and they're paying us for it. Yeah. There's a moment where this guy's like fumigating the streets, and like the family's like, oh, should we close our window? And the dad is like, nah. If you let it come in, free fumigation for the house.
Kill the stick bugs. Yeah,
kill the stink bugs inside the house.
That and when they're just like, oh, they turned off our internet. It's like, oh, dude, if you go up near the toilet, you can get internet. And they're all like, and they like celebrate it that night. Oh, yeah.
It's
like the best thing.
They have a can of beer and they celebrate it. Yeah.
This bountiful, thing.
And like the thing is, they're like sarcastically thankful of like some of the smaller stuff. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they're one unit, they're one family, and if one of them thrives, they're willing to push each other up for it.
Exactly.
Whether it's crooked or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. The movie's basically, like, I agree, it's all about classism and whatnot.
Like, and obviously.
It really drives it home, but it's not annoying with it.
Exactly. And that's the great thing about it, is that it's legitimately just like, here's this world, here's a situation, and you don't think about, in my mind, the thing that's interesting to me about when we watch Joker is that you see this character's perspective, but since his perspective's so different from your own, you think of like, well, that's not how the world works. Like, come on, pal. Yeah. This one, you're so. All the characters act in such an endearing way, like literally all of them. All of them are just like really interesting people that like you're just so invested in what happens to any of them. You know, it's great. And
the thing is, it's one of those. I gotta say this. I ran an experiment in my brain where for a lot of us to enjoy a movie, we have to relate to the characters in it. Am I correct?
Yeah.
It's very easy as a white straight man, to relate to, I want to say 90% of every single movie out there. Yeah. But this one forces me to relate due to its narrative and its situation, and not based off race, skin color, or anything like that. Yeah. Because like, how can I say this? Like, I grew up in Mexico, poor of the poor, whatever. So I was like that boundary is just crossed, like that racial boundary is like whatever. It means nothing because like I can relate to what's going on here. I too would have wanted to do something to like, thrive. Yeah. It just sucks that this family did something completely crooked for it. And that's what I really enjoy about these like films coming in from different countries is because not only is breaking that boundary of like race, skin, tone, whatever, language. Yeah. It's just it just proves the point. It's like good narrative, good story, blah blah blah, whatever. It doesn't matter what you make it.
Yeah.
It's just this is what matters here, and like there you go.
And even
that's my spiel of the day.
Sure. And even that's kind of in the background. Then in the background you see, okay, it's about race. We get well, I mean class war. We get it.
Yeah, classism.
But also that like within that system, something that I appreciate is the fact that like you for very small superficial reasons, they like they can blend in, no problem.
Yeah.
You know, people of whatever class can blend in with the other classes. That's actually I think it's called Paris is on Fire, or like Set Fire to Paris. I'm trying to remember what it is, but it's this movie about the drag scene in they were called Balls in I think it was in Paris, but I'm trying to remember where it was. But I haven't seen much about the movie, but it's about like underground like balls where they would have like drag showings, and one of the categories for them was to blend in society and say like, can you like as whatever gender you were, or like whatever gender you were born as, or whatever, any of that kind of stuff, can you blend in with the other stuff? And they would be graded, and like these would be people that were like abandoned from their family because they're of like the LGBT community.
Mischiefs, yeah.
And they would be taken
what they
in.
would consider as mischiefs,
And they would be taken in by like these other like groups, and they were called families,
not
and they're
part
all
of the social quo.
Exactly. And like the movie's fantastic. Like I've seen parts of it, and I need to watch the rest of it. I'm sorry, I haven't seen all of it. But that's the thing that interests me about this movie, is that you have the same kind of thing. That like these people can blend in with everybody else because they're crafty and smart.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they just weren't born, or like aren't part of that same system. So now they're trying really hard to be however they
They're
can.
willing to do anything to like be part of the higher class system.
Yeah. And in such a way that like you kind of just see that they are more interesting as people, of course, because I mean this is from their perspective, but also that they're just they're just more interesting. Like it's more everything they're doing. You understand is like, this is life. Like this is the only thing they're focusing on. Everybody else has like, maybe they're thinking about laundry or whatever, or maybe I got to pick up the kids. They're like, no, this is the only thing in my mind is this thing happening, and they're very committed to it.
Yeah,
and it's
and the
so
thing
well
is,
written.
it just showcases like the strength and the bond of the family. Because like in the first, I want to say 10 minutes, they're folding these pizza boxes, and they're like, 1 out of 4 pizza boxes suck. Like we can't use them. It gives our brand name it gives our brand a bad name. So we're docking 10%. You know. And suddenly the mom is like, "What is going on here?" And like, that's not fair or whatever. And like the kid comes in, is like, he comes in, is like, "Oh, don't worry about her. Sorry about that. Here, don't worry about it." But didn't that guy got fired or something like that? Are you guys looking for somebody? You know, I'm really good.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, like they're so pushy but so elegant with it. They're really good bullshitters.
Well, yeah, but especially the fact that like in that moment, because early on you're just like, oh, this is the family dynamic. The mom's kind of like mean,
Brash.
and the daughter's just kind of standoffish, and the dad's just kind of jolly, and the son is just kind of trying to be cool. He's trying to fit in. But then as you go on, like that's what it looks like in the beginning. But then as you go on, you're just like, oh, that's kind of their attitudes, but they're all in it together. It doesn't matter what's happening, but that's what's important, is them being together.
They have conflicting personalities, but the fact is they use those personalities to work together.
And the thing that I love is that you have this family that is like tight-knit, very tight-knit.
Oh, yeah.
Then you have the rich people that like they barely see each other. Any of them, and on top of that they're not having a bad time, but they're kind of having an unfulfilled life in this in this way, that they're not happy together usually when they like barely talk to each other, any of that stuff, and you see this juxtaposition with these people that have legitimately next to nothing, and that they're happy every step along the way. They're always with each other
because they're together. While, like you said, the rich family, like the father of the rich family owns a company. He's constantly working at that company. Either that or going out to eat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The mother is a stay-at-home mom, but barely sees her kids because, well, the other one's studying in her room constantly, and the other one is or the smaller child is like a brat and runs all over the place, while the what was she? She was like
the nanny.
The nanny.
Yeah.
Would just like chase the child around while she was just like doing nothing.
Of course,
and that's when you have the conflicting, not only of class but also in families, and that's when like the whole drama comes in, where like one of the lead character's friends says, "Hey, I'm tutoring this chick, but guess what? I'm studying abroad, so I'm gonna recommend you. And like it disgusses me, you know, that you're out here trying or something like that. And
You're such a smart guy.
You're such a
you know.
smart guy. Meanwhile, like my friends
These
who are
chads.
yeah,
Like,
these chads, these frat boys
Yeah.
would do the same thing, but you can do better and you deserve it. So therefore, I'm giving it to you.
Yeah.
And from there, everything starts.
Yeah.
You know, the
Well, let's get into spoilers. We're about at
Is it-
that time.
is it about time to have? Okay.
So, but I think we can deep dive now.
yeah,
you know,
let's
and
deep
have
dive.
some fun. And
So they send off. I forgot his name.
thank you for watching.
Forgot his name.
I don't remember any of their names.
Me
I'm
neither.
gonna be honest,
So they
yeah.
send out the guy to go tutor this chick or whatever.
Yeah,
go to-
the younger brother.
The younger-
or the brother.
the
Yeah,
brother
let's
to
say
go
that.
tutor
Let's say
the-
brother, sister, mother, father. Yeah.
The brother, the younger brother to tutor the younger sister of the other family,
Mm-hmm.
and from there, you can already tell like his gears are turning.
Yeah.
Immediately, we go from we literally see him travel from the underbelly of the city where his family literally live below street level to above, like uphill, you know. They can see he mentions that like I can see the sky,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, and like this is fantastic.
And especially like I love the juxtaposition in filmmaking
Mm-hmm.
that like when they're in their basement kind of house thing, it's all very cramped and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they get out, he's a pea on the screen. You only see these giant walls holding
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in this house, and like when they switch camera angles, he's still a little pea. It's so good. Yeah.
He's constantly like a small little, you know, and they do it perfectly through the cinematography.
Yeah.
And we see him like literally traversing like from lower class to higher class and how he wants to blend in with them more and more. And from there, his head starts turning or whatever.
It snowballs.
And he's so smart with it, where like he notices something, he sees a problem, and he goes like, "Oh, you don't have a solution to that problem? Well, I so happen to blank to know the solution to the problem." You probably can't afford it, and then like,
Yeah.
but I can.
They're,
And, you
they're
know,
both entrepreneurs. That's
Yeah.
the entrepreneur spirit. You see it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, yeah, I can. It's like, oh well, you know, she's, you know, the daughter, or sorry, the son, who's like rowdy all over the place and whatnot, is like, he sells it as a genius savant or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
He's a genius painter. Is like, there's a moment in the movie where you see a painting. It looks kind of Picasso-esque, and he goes like, he's like looking at it, and he's like, that's a monkey, right?
No, he's like, that's a self-portrait. And she's like, it's a chimpanzee. He's like,
No, it's the other way around.
oh, wait, really?
Yeah, he says like, is that a chimpanzee? And she goes like, no, it's a self-portrait. And he
Oh,
goes,
that was it. Yeah, that was it. He said
goes,
it's so metaphorical.
It's so metaphorical. And there's a constant quote that he says.
I love it.
It's so
It's like,
metaphorical. So metaphorical.
God, like with the
Yeah.
stone, the family stone.
Oh yeah. And like, and it's funny because like, funny enough, to bring the stone, and you know for a fact they don't know anything about that stone.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, this is so metaphorical. It's like I've seen these stones before. They carry in good wealth on them, and you know, and stuff like that. It's
But
like,
at the same time, like that symbolically not only begins but ends their good fortune. That when they remove it from its place, when they disturb it, that's when every bad thing happens.
exactly. And
And that there's no consequence for it. The thing that's interesting is that like in this film that like there's technically no consequence from the rich, the upper crust whatsoever.
Oh, yeah,
like
zero consequence
Like
for
if
them.
they were eventually caught in their con, nothing would have really happened. Like
Yeah.
ultimately, they would have just been like, "You lied to us." It's just like, yeah, but you got what you wanted. Like ultimately,
Yeah.
we gave you a service. We did lie. That's bad.
Yeah.
Goodbye. You can't really sue us or anything like that. Like,
Exactly.
we didn't need.
it's your fault for falling for it.
Yeah, we didn't
dummy.
need degrees to do what we did.
Yeah.
So all that, and then that like the only thing that really messes it all up is the two groups of people from the lower class fighting for that place because there's only one parasite can live in this environment.
Exactly.
Which is-
But the thing is, that boundary or the line is already being crossed because they mention, the child mentions like, these two. So this family takes over the jobs of this other family, right? Like, the brother takes in as the tutor. He takes that in.
Yeah.
From there, he creates a job for his sister for the younger brother, who's like an artist, as an art therapist.
Yeah.
From there, the sheriff, not the sheriff, the sheriff,
The
oh my
chauffeur?
God. The chauffeur gets fired, so the dad walks in, he takes that job, and then later the nanny gets fired and the mother takes that job. So they finally live there. They finally reach it.
And it's so funny. Like
Yeah, it's
every step of the
hysterical how
way
they-
is so funny. Especially that like it all starts when that one his friend that's going to study abroad says is
Yeah.
just like, yeah, the mother is simple. And then like
Yeah,
they go
how to
from
put
there.
it lightly, simple. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And then they just go and it's shot so well. The thing that's crazy that like everything inside the house is shot like a beauty commercial, like every single shot,
Yeah.
and that like you just see this beautiful juxtaposition between the two. And I'm pretty sure they were shooting on like different lenses. Like they were anamorphic, the other ones are something else.
I
Like-
rogue nonsense, bland and gross.
Yeah, but just to see that. The thing that I really appreciated the most about the movie is the writing in the way of like there's always setup and payoff to everything. That when they're having their moment, like, and I was so anxious that like as soon as it started raining when they're just drinking, I'm just like, those other people were on a camping trip.
I was thinking the same thing. It's
I'm
they're
like,
on a
guess what
camping trip.
happens when it rains?
So, yeah,
You leave.
Yeah, exactly. You leave or you
Yeah.
just don't want to be there.
Yeah.
I want to talk more about the how can I say this? The situation that the family is having and
Sure,
whatnot,
go for
and
it.
like once they take over as the subpar, as the jobs once they take over in the jobs. Sorry, everything is going smoothly up until that moment where they literally cross the line.
Mm-hmm.
They invade these people's homes and like start drinking their alcohol, eating their food or whatever. They go on a small little mini vacay.
Yeah.
And I will also like to point out that this proves your point even further, is that wealth kind of separates the family in this narrative, while struggle brings the family together. As soon as they took over, did you notice that each family member was in a different room?
Yeah.
Where like the daughter was in the bathroom having a bath, the mother was doing something else, the father was doing something else,
Yeah.
and like they were all doing their own little thing.
slipped into it.
They were even talking about, it's like, what room would you want?
Yeah.
It's like they never
yeah.
talked about it in that thing. They were living.
not.
They were all probably sleeping in the same room and shit like that. You know.
and especially that like I just love that like you have this with the writing that like the mom literally says it's just like, oh, if Mr. Park came home, you'd be scared, you'd run away like a cockroach. Guess what they do? They go under the table like a cockroach and then run out the garage like a cockroach.
Yeah.
And then like rats, like cockroaches, run back home.
Yeah,
and
run.
you see them tiny in the frame like a bug.
Yeah.
And it's genius.
Yeah, they're
It's
small.
so
They're insects compared to these people.
And especially the thing that I really liked just for the whole movie is the difference between the son and the dad as like characters. Just to bring up really quick.
They
as
had
lip
a
service.
small little arc within them.
Well, but that like the son is always coming up with a plan. He starts the thing as a plan, and the dad from day one, from the beginning, doesn't have a plan. And he like when the smoke comes in, they're all coughing. He's like, I said what was going to happen. Like I kind of something happened. I justified it. Now I'm going back to what I was doing.
Yeah.
He has no plan. Lets the things happen. And that's ultimately his
And
downfall.
it goes with the guy that like he even further proves it by having the guy like whoever was pissing on the road.
Yeah.
It was like, don't bother him. Like it's like if you put up a sign, he will only want to piss there even more. You know, stuff like
Yeah.
that where he's so driven by the wind. You know.
Yeah.
When the son wants to put up his sail and like use the wind to go somewhere else. But there's a point where like things are starting to go downhill. People starting to notice their smell.
Yeah.
Like there's a smell between higher and lower class.
God,
And they just dig it further and further. Where
sickened
like
me.
where like
Like-
the kid is like, they smell the same, and like the dad is like, what do you mean? And like it's like what is it? It's like us poor people have a smell, you know, and they can smell it. They're so
Yeah.
rich they can smell the class that we're in.
And they like talk about it like in such a
it does-
gross
it smells
way.
like this. There's a part where like they're hiding under the table. It's like, yeah, he smells like a Subway.
Yeah,
and like they goes like, I haven't ran a Subway in years. Ugh.
Yeah.
And,
And
like,
especially like once he said that and they said like old radishes, I'm like, I don't know what old radishes smell like. And then when they said that like smell on a Subway you smell every once in a while, I'm like, I know exactly what that smell is. I can't believe it. Like
Yeah. And like the father drives the point even further. Like, sorry, I keep on saying drives the point, but the father
he was driving.
He was driving, but the father
chauffeur.
he goes off in a tangent where they were like, so we need to wash our clothes with different shampoos, blah blah blah, and the father's like, that's not gonna work. It's this place. It's literally this place. It's not what we're wearing. It's this place.
Yeah.
It's us. It's like, oh, and the father gets sick of it.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, because like we're gonna move on to the end where everything. So can we mention the gremlin in the basement?
That was horrific.
Yeah.
Like I legitimately, cause like the moment where she's just like, "Do you want to see?" And then she
Yeah,
like
no,
goes with her
do
down
you want
the.
to come down with me?
Yeah, and then like go down the stuff, and she's like, "Please help me." And then they open the thing, and they just go down these long corridors, and you're like,
Yeah.
"What is happening?"
There's like a subterranean level to this beautiful house where it was like apparently used in case North Korea wanted to attack or whatever.
Yeah, like a bombing.
Like a bomb shelter or whatever.
Yeah.
And apparently the maid or the nanny that was like doing her job there is just like them. To the
Yeah.
point where like, come on, sis, you know sis, right?
Dude, when she said sis, I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh my
it's like,
god, yeah."
Yeah.
And that and to drive the point home so much that not only are they like quote unquote parasites to this family, but literally one of them is a smart home. Like that was disgusting. to
Yeah.
me, that he like bangs his, like he has hands, but
Yeah.
he bangs his head against the thing to like worship his god, and he's like, you know, has an altar to him more or
Yeah.
less, and that like
Respect.
yeah. Oh. And that like at the very end when he's, you know, like he never, that gremlin guy never ever wants to harm the family, like the family of the nice people.
Yeah, but he
And
did
that-
end up hurting the child though in a way.
yeah, he did on accident in the beginning.
That was horrific, by the way.
Yeah, when his eyes come up and you're like, oh,
Oh,
my god,
that
I
is
mean-
genuinely
Yeah.
scary.
And it's crazy because that's during like a funny sequence too. So it's like
Yeah.
funny horror. Like it
was
terrifying.
fun. Also, that transition
Which one?
where like the mother was talking about it, was like, yeah, blah blah blah, and he wanted his birthday cake, which was sitting right here. Damn it!
Cut it.
It's
Cut it.
we have parasites down below us. And they're finally sick of us.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We could cut and restart. Like we're at like 26 minutes.
Okay.
Sorry, the police came and took our parasites.
Took our parasites.
Yeah.
Thank you, police. Respect. But yeah, and like she was doing the same thing, and like the guy was worshiping, like you said, like to the point where like he was doing Morse code with the lights
Yeah.
and thanking him, and like it was just
disturbing.
it was
And-
crazy because like in a way it's justified
Yeah.
because he's absolutely right. He gave me this home. I live here. Like worry free, all thanks to him.
And especially when he said he's just like it's just like a basement home, and they're living in a basement home.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my god.
it's like,
Yeah, they are and the parallelism, just like in the Lighthouse. Wait, should I even mention that because that's a different video?
okay.
So in the Lighthouse, there's parallelism between the characters. That like same thing. That like
Yeah.
the dad and this guy downstairs have such a strong bond that oopsie, they end up he replaces him in the same way that the mom replaced the
Yeah. Because the gremlin in the basement,
Yeah.
he was exactly right, just like the dad, where like he just goes where the wind takes him.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the wind took me to this basement. I might as well worship it.
Yeah.
You know.
And that he only really retaliates when his like wife, he literally says, he's just like, I have in my old age, I don't want adventure, I want love in a nice place.
Yeah.
And that's what he has. And
Yeah.
then when his wife dies, he's like, now I got nothing.
Now I got
like
nothing,
you've
yeah.
ruined this for me. Now it's time to
And-
take revenge.
Yeah, and to the point, and it takes us to the ending where it was this kid's birthday, and every single member of the family was invited to go, and they were even being paid to go.
Yeah.
And this pissed off the father figure or the father,
Yeah.
whereas like he was already like kind of like off of it because like
Because he was insulted about his
he was being
class.
this entire time, right? And he goes like, and the rich dad or whatever goes like, can you like just consider this a paid day, okay?
yeah,
Just
he
do
says
your,
like, this is extra, dude.
yeah, just do your job.
Yeah.
And like the dad just like loses it even more. Like every you just he's about to crack and you know it.
yeah. He's like, well, if you're not having fun, just know you're getting paid. kind
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
Like seriously. And then the
And especially that he doesn't know what he just went through. Like
Yeah.
they've had a horrifying
No
night.
idea.
And especially that the mom, like when he's driving her around, she's like, "Oh, this rain was so great. Like it helped. The sky's so blue now." And he's just like, "It took everything from my house except for a box."
yeah,
You know, like
this rain took everything from us.
yeah.
Yeah. And the so the gremlin gets out of the house and like almost murders the brother.
Yeah, yeah.
Hitting him with the rock of like, you know,
Good fortune.
of
and
good
wealth.
fortune and wealth and whatnot. I thought he was dead.
Me too. I legitimately, like, my heart sank when I saw that because I loved that character so
Same.
much. Yeah.
He was great.
And same thing with the sister. Sister was my favorite
the
character.
The sister got stabbed, and the family was left to defend itself while the other family tried to run away.
Yeah.
And like there's this amazing part where like the father's holding his daughter's wound closed, like trying to like prevent it from bleeding.
Yeah.
And the rich dad is like, forget about her.
Yeah.
Hell, like give me the keys or something. Like drive us to the hospital. Blah blah blah. And he's like, you're caught between is like, do I continue with the BS or do I save my daughter's life?
Yeah.
Which he takes like the easy route, gives him the key, right? But they immediately like the Destiny says, nope, you don't get to have that.
Yeah,
you don't take the easy way route this time, Bucko, and like just hands it over. Where like unfortunately she dies.
Yeah.
And this how can I say this? This drives him into stabbing the.
Yeah, well, especially that, like, it would have all been, I feel like he would have just stayed there and done nothing if it weren't for the fact that he, like, the keys roll under the, you know, the gremlin guy, and so he, like, goes
and his
to
wife
get the
fighting,
keys.
yeah,
and he goes to get the keys, and when he's going to get the keys, he's just like, oh, you smell bad, because he legitimately, like, he spent forever in a basement. He probably doesn't smell great, but it's that image that he's immediately just like, this man worships you, and he literally says it there. He's just like, I worship you, you know, like, in respect.
In a moment of pure chaos, you still have time to like feel disgust from us, like, really?
So he just goes and does it, and that's also a testament to his not having a plan. He's just like, I just go, you know how it does. If you don't have a plan, it'll never backfire. It completely backfires. That if he didn't do that, maybe when the daughter died, they would have been found out. Who knows? But by him doing that, set his family on a completely different path. I mean, his son needed to get brain surgery, but I don't know if that put them in debt. Like, what happened with that? You know, I don't know if Korea has universal health care.
Who knows?
Like, so he could have made it even worse than they started. And you said something when we left that, like, I'm pretty sure we all assumed that the mom was gonna, like, give up the ghost, like, do something to mess up.
I thought the mom was gonna, like, you know, be the one that ruins the entire situation, but at the end it was the dad.
Yeah. By virtue of his himself and his character.
Exactly. And like the dad stabs the man, and he goes off to hiding in that basement, and lives the life that he took away. Yeah. You know, as kind of like a metaphorical punishment. You know, and
Koreans have something with I think, was Old Boy Korean? I think it was a Korean film.
Maybe, I think
they got something about being locked up in a room, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
It's like very dreadful.
Yeah. I mean, it's disturbing every time I see it.
And from there, you know, the kid gets his brain surgery. He has kind of like a bit of a Joker syndrome where he laughs in inappropriate moments and stuff like that. Yeah. And
it's so tragic.
Yeah, which sucks. And from there, he learns the ultimate lesson. It's like, you know what, Dad? No. It's like he finds out that his dad is still alive, even though he disappeared from the face of the earth. That he's living under the basement through the Morse code thing. Yeah, yeah. And he goes like, you know what?
There's a long letter in Morse code. Yeah.
And like, I'm gonna devise a plan. I'm gonna get a job. I'm gonna get a degree. Pay off my everything. Make a lot of money, and I'm gonna buy that house. Yeah. And the only thing you have to do is walk outside. Yeah. And they show us that. It made it seem like they show us that. It's like, wow, he actually bought the house.
I wanted to leave so bad.
Like, he bought the house. Wow, this is incredible. Like, wow. And then he walks away, and then they hug, and then they fade to black. And I was like, don't do it. Don't roll those credits.
I wanted to leave so bad.
And then it starts up with the very first shot of the movie, and it goes down, and it's him writing his plan down, and he goes, "So long." Yeah. It's like he made the plan, but he hasn't executed yet.
Yeah. And you're like, does he do it?
That was all metaphorical.
Yeah. So metaphorical.
So metaphorical. God. And that's where it ends. It ends with him saying, like, or knowing and wanting to make a plan.
Exactly.
Which is like, damn.
God, and it's just like, it's just so well executed and done that, like,
seriously,
in the end, I just wanted nothing but these people to, like, you know, both sides, like, and the thing about it is that, like, the rich people aren't particularly bad people, like, in general, but they're just, like, dicks in small ways that really hurt because they don't understand the other side.
Yeah, they don't know what they're missing. They don't know what they're missing. Yeah. And it's unfortunately, it plays with the whole rich stereotype. Like, they're like, the rich are miserable because, like, they don't care about anything, which is, like, not true. Yeah. It's just a stereotype, but in this one, it helped with the narrative and whatnot.
Yeah. And like I said, with, like, a movie like Joker, where you're just, like, you can't empathize too much with the Joker's, like, plight, so you're thinking about all the other characters. In this movie, like, they're getting our parasites. They're doing it.
They heard us talking about the Joker.
They're just like, we're coming, incels. We got you. Nope. Thought we were joking about the ambulance thing. Firehouse. Is that a ghost?
Is that a ghoul?
I hate you. There's a parasite in your butt. But
I'm gonna be debating and editing. Like, should I leave that in?
I don't even remember what I was saying.
We're talking about
that Joker. Like, you can't really empathize with the way
really
he's
can't.
doing. But, like, in this movie, you forget that, like, and I hate to say it, but, like, rich people are people too. That, like, legitimately, you don't see the dad's work. His work could be really hard. He could actually be doing, like, there could be a reason he doesn't see his kids. The kid is actually, like, the son is actually traumatized and has PTSD or whatever. The daughter is, like, lonely.
Yeah,
of course. That's why she
clearly
jumps on the first guy that shows up.
Yeah.
And the mom is worried about everybody, but doesn't know how to do it. Like, that was a symptom in, like, kind of like the 80s. That's a stereotype that, like, mothers that, like, they really want to help, or, like, parents that really want to help their children, but it's like, how do I get to these kids? Like, they just don't know how. They don't know how to get to their children.
Exactly.
So that's why she's like, I'll pay anybody to do anything to fix this.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Because, like, all she wants at the end of the day is, like, a nice, happy family.
Yeah. She's
But
like,
she
I have
can't-
money, but not happiness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the other family is complete ass opposite.
Yeah.
Where, like, they may seem like they're suffering, but they're loving life.
Yeah.
They're just without money.
Yeah.
And this is what happens when this collides.
And they only care about food and drink. That's
Yeah,
it. Like,
seriously.
they really don't care about, like, a car or whatever. Like, they go and check stuff out, like, in an amusement park way. They're not like when they go to the Mercedes dealership and they check out those cars, they're just like, oh, look at this one has this and that. But they're not like, I want this.
They didn't do that for that reason.
Wait, what were they doing?
They went to the Mercedes dealership to train the dad how to use the other guy's Mercedes.
This movie's amazing.
Yeah.
God.
Every scene has a purpose, and that's what Hollywood movies nowadays don't have.
Well, like, even when the dad is trying to convince the father that is the chauffeur is trying to convince the other father to hire the nanny, like, he even tries to say, like, you can tell that he doesn't know how to do a plan because or like execute on it, because not only do they have that script that he says.
Oh yeah,
It was just so
he was
funny.
the only one that needed a script.
Yeah, but on top of that when he's talking to the other father, he, like, basically just keeps talking to him. He's just like, hey, like, you know, the number's on the back, like, call the number, do this, and he's like, you don't need to tell him all that.
He's like, eyes on the road, guy.
Yeah,
and
so
like
he's like,
almost crossing the line.
yeah, and it's interesting that, like, the father is, like, you know, a pivotal part of the whole movie,
Yeah.
but you don't think about him too much. You think about the son and the daughter and how they're, like, trying to execute on this plan, and they're just so effective that you don't think about the monkey wrench that'll be thrown into it.
Yeah.
You know?
And like this entire time, you would never think that you're rooting for this family doing such a crooked thing, but
yeah.
when you understand what they're doing and you
Yeah.
understand, like, honestly, they're doing no harm.
Yeah, and especially that they just kind of don't have a choice. You know,
Yeah.
like, this opportunity was dropped in their lap, and they're like, we could do something else. It won't be nearly as beneficial, as well as, yeah, like you said, they're not hurting anybody. Ultimately, until the end, where they hurt people. You know, nonchalant. She nonchalantly kicked that lady down the stairs.
I mean, it goes with her character.
Exactly.
Zero
Yeah.
BS. Blank.
Yeah,
Like,
she's just like, get out of here. And I don't think she meant to hurt her, like,
No,
viciously,
whatsoever.
because she gave her a concussion. But she's like, go take this food to the lady downstairs.
Yeah, it was a
and-
moment of desperation.
Exactly.
you know?
Yeah. And
It's either her family or mine.
yeah, and that the dad kind of ruins it because he realizes that the lady's breathing, but then ties her up in a way that, like, you know, she'll die, as well as the father too, and, well, I mean, the gremlin guy, and, like, just the dad is just such a like, kind of
He's a lovable, clumsy guy, and
basically,
that's it.
yeah.
What would you give this movie?
I really want to give it a 10. I legitimately really
Yeah.
do, but I'd probably give it closer to a 9 or 9.5. Stop farting. Stop it. I heard you.
He's been bullying me about my farts.
Because he won't stop.
You know what's funny? In The Lighthouse, it's like, I'm sick of your farts.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We didn't even talk about the best line in the movie.
Sick of your farts. Shitting yourself all over the
You're a
place.
parody. Oh my god, what a good movie. But yeah, I would give it like I want to give it a 10 so bad because like I haven't had that much, and it might just be like I said, like a refreshing thing. It was so refreshing, but like I haven't had that much of an emotional reaction from a movie.
Yeah.
That like I wanted nothing but these people to succeed in their life, like really nothing but that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would give it probably a 9 or 9.5. I'll say 9.5 for now.
Yeah.
Future Keon, I'm sorry.
This movie got an award from Cannes.
Yeah, at the Cannes Film Festival, it got the Palme d'Or, which is the highest award. So at the
Incredible.
at the the worldwide film festival, it won the best movie.
Would you want a Palme d'Or or an Oscar?
Oh, that's hard. I would want an Oscar because of the
Recognition.
well that, but the whoa! I just had that frog is jumping at me, man. I would want an Oscar just because of this business.
Yeah.
That like here it's overall in Hollywood that kind of can get you places and stuff like that. But like artistically for my life, yeah, Palme d'Or would be amazing.
Palme d'Or
oh my God.
would
Or
be
just
great.
going to Cannes. Cannes would be really
Yeah.
great, or Cannes or whatever. But yeah, man.
I
How
don't
about
know
you?
what it's called.
What award do you want, and what would you give it?
Oh man, anything helps really.
It's fair. $5,
$5
Please.
helps. I think.
or any award you want to give us. If
Any
you got an
award.
Oscar, a Tony, a Grammy,
Tony.
any of them, send them over.
A
We'll put it. We'll
DiCaprio.
put them here.
I think
DiCaprio.
A DiCaprio.
Yeah.
I think. How can I say this? I enjoyed this movie a lot. I really did. It struck at my heartstrings.
Yeah.
I thought the story was super inspiring. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I can't say that I haven't seen a truly compelling film besides this one recently, you know, or a movie that inspires me to be more of a filmmaker.
I would
you know?
recommend this to like anybody. It's just so funny and
It's
interesting.
it's
Yeah.
a great movie.
Like
And
Lighthouse, not so much.
I think I don't want to give it the highest score ever
Same.
because I don't know. I would be giving that score based off the things that I've seen. You know,
so?
like I've seen nothing but like I said, downers. So this movie's a bit of an upper when it comes about like its tone and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, oh, so refreshing. This is so great. It's like enjoying a Coke where you never had a Coke before.
Yeah, when you've had only Pepsi or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna stick by my guns, and I'm gonna give it a 9.
Okay.
Even though I want to give it a 10 as much as like so much.
Which is, it's weird for us on this podcast that like the first movie we talked about was Joker, which is pretty great, and then this and The Lighthouse, we're giving it really high scores because they're that good. Like,
Yeah.
And I don't want that to like curb anybody if they're watching at this part
No,
of
first
us.
of all, if you're taking if you're taking our
That's fair. Yeah.
our critiques and our commentary on these movies like
Gospel.
in heart, and you think like our thing is valid, first of all, thanks. Second of all, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't take anyone's like words verbatim on a movie,
Yeah.
because that's how you ruin any kind of media for yourself. But the thing is like I have my tastes, you have your tastes, and this is why we enjoy these films. And the reason why we're giving a score is like it's just a bullet point on our list for content, and it really is. It's just a bullet point. And the thing is, at the end of the day, is that this movie was so compelling
Yeah.
that I couldn't recommend it more. Seriously, I just strongly recommend it.
And man, just that like for any movie, I really hope you like. Thank you if you watch this without seeing the movie,
Yeah.
the spoiler part. But I really think that if you see someone you like online that's written a review for something like Parasite and The Lighthouse, I actually saw Your Movie Sucks did a thing about them. And then I went and saw The Lighthouse because I already wanted to see it and people were talking about it, and I love Willem Dafoe. But then I was just like, when you had mentioned it, I'm like, I want to go see it because I want to hear online the people that I respect's opinions and see what they think versus what I thought.
Yeah.
Versus I really think that people should just go see a thing, enjoy it, see what they think, and then go listen to other people and to hear what happened.
Yeah.
And ultimately don't take what other people say as like a reason to like or hate something.
One thing that I like to do is watch a movie and then watch other critics or whatever
Yeah.
talk about it and
And then blast them in the comments.
no, and have argument points. You
Yeah.
know, or like they didn't like this scene because of this reason. I'm like, well, I saw this differently in this scene, whatever. Like my mind doesn't change of your view. It's just to me, I find it really cool that you found something in this scene different than I did, and that's what's so good about this media.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what's so great about this media.
And especially that you can just, you can see things from completely different perspectives, and like maybe you take what they say and be like, oh, I can see
Yeah.
that, but like I don't really see
Yeah,
this, and you can just have
like,
a good conversation.
I
about
don't
it.
mean to like crap on our own thing by calling like giving this movie a review as another point in our media content.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
just
like
it's
we needed to talk about it.
We
though.
needed to
We
talk about it,
legitimately
though.
like saved our opinions for
Yeah.
right now. Yeah,
for two reasons. Not only one, because we just couldn't talk about it at the theater.
I couldn't say a word to you,
We couldn't
man.
say like, we were kind of like I was speechless in a way where I couldn't talk about the movie. I can only talk about how good it was.
Yes,
You
same.
know?
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry I went off on a tangent there.
You're good. That's the point of it. We put all this up
Do
so
you
we
think
could
people
talk.
care? Do you
No,
think
what the? You think anybody would watch 40 minutes of us, or
40
it might be
minutes
50?
just for Parasite?
Yeah, dude. It's because it's a good movie.
Wow.
It won the Palm d'Or. The Palm Whore. Yeah,
I would.
the Palm of.
I just
Whore.
want to go to Canes just to like say that I was there.
I just love that you call it Canes.
Is it Canes?
Like this, or it's Con.
They're French.
Yeah, that's how you pronounce things.
Oh,
I took
shit.
6 years of French. You dumbo.
Hamburger.
What was that? Blues Clues? What was his name?
Blues Clues.
Jacques Clues.
Jean Clouseau.
Cluzo.
Something
That was
like
the
that.
one.
think
I want to go to Canes and watch a movie.
I do. I really
Yeah.
do.
I do want to go to Con really bad.
I think yeah.
That and like Toronto International Film Festival stuff.
Oh,
Like
I
that.
just want to meet some cool celebs and be like, "Hey, how you doing?" and
Yeah.
walk away.
Or just like talk. The thing about that is that like AMC also does a thing every year, or it's so far past 2 years, where if stuff are Oscar nominated, they'll play them in a row if they can get the rights to play them.
Yeah.
And I went and saw that, and it's like a whole 2-day thing or 3-day thing. It's like a long time because they're like all the movies. And I went for like I think 1 day. I only bought a ticket for the 1 day with my pass, and I think going to Con or going to TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival, that it would be similar because when we sat down, legitimately after one movie played, everybody's stuck with each other. They're in the seats they were going to be in, so we just turned and like, so what do you think? He's like, oh, I really like that part. Like, I like this and
that's
that. You know,
cool. I haven't
it was
experienced
so
something
nice.
like
I distinctly remember everybody, like the 4 people to my like left and right, that like what we talked about. It was just so nice. Yeah, I really hope that those are similar. That you just go meet people that are excited about film and be like,
I
what would you
hope so.
think? Yeah.
I feel like we would be like that family
Yeah. Oh
where we come in and it's like, oh, you having troubles with your DP? That is so
You
strange.
don't have a drone pilot?
You don't have a drone
Crazy.
pilot? It's
Have you
so-
heard of Blender?
Yeah, have you heard of Blender? like it's like you having trouble with your DP?
Yeah.
That is so strange. Well, I mean, I don't know how to tell. I mean, I don't want to be that guy or anything like
Yeah.
that, but like, I mean, if you ever need help, you go, stuff like that.
Yeah, this is I mean, we have the fancy cards, in
we
the
do.
same
Look
way.
at these cards.
They
You
glow,
probably can't
they
see
glow
them
in the
on
dark.
camera. They don't glow in the dark.
They're, if you shine a flashlight at them.
They're not even gonna pull into focus. It's not an autofocus. It's a prime lens.
Get better lenses. It's a Sony.
I'm done.
Don't peek my audio. Okay, cut.